Take one. Take two.
Good morning. I'm Tom Moore. It's my distinct honor and privilege to welcome all of you today for the special ceremony of the retirement of Mr. Joseph Nellis. If you've not done so already, please remove all badges. The ceremony will be filmed today.
Okay.
Mr. Nellis is being recognized for his outstanding contributions to USANCA for the last 10 years, as well as a distinguished 29-year career in federal service. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand and remain standing for the arrival of the official party and the playing of the national anthem. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, the Director of the United States Army Nuclear and Commanding W&D Agency, Mr. Daniel Clifton.
Thank you. First off, I want to thank everybody for taking the time out to come, all the friends of the Nellis family for taking the opportunity to come and witness this great occasion. It is appropriate that we kind of stop everything that we're doing right now and take the time to recognize Joseph and his family for the years of service that they've given and for the contributions that he's made. So, Mary Lou, thank you for all that you've done. Jason, Christina, thank you for supporting your father and all the things that he's done and the times that he's had to go away, spend some time out in the field, just doing the job that he's done. And so as a family, thank you for being supportive and allowing Joseph to do the things he's done for Army for almost 29 years. And for this agency for a good number of years. So thank you for allowing us to have him. We're going to give him back to you, and I know that there's a honey-do list behind that return as well, as with all of it. But it's nice to recognize Mary Lou, Jason, and Christina for being here. Lovely family, very successful in their own rights. Mary Lou is a teacher, pre-education or young children. You got Jason as a doctor, So if you guys got neck pain, head pain, see Jason afterwards, he'll take care of you. He did say something about experimental surgery, so I just offer that to you as you look at this. And Christina, she's finishing up school at Virginia Tech right now, going to be a nurse. So, you know, maybe there's a doctor-nurse family combination here, you know, but I wish you all the very best. And Joseph, you know, again, we get ready to retire you from government service, but not necessarily forget that all you've done. So I'd like to just take a couple of minutes and take a look for, you know, just kind of remind ourselves what we did. Joseph, you know, got an impressive background. I mean, when you take a look at it, education-wise, he's got 2 master's degrees, an MBA and a master's in chemical engineering and a bachelor's of science in geological engineering. And I got to tell you, I took chemistry, biology, and whatever all the sciences we were supposed to take when I was in high school. I didn't understand a darn thing. But for somebody to look at here and go, I got a degree in chemical engineering, got to be a smart guy. They tried to teach me that periodic table. The only thing I knew about it was a hard thing to try to find all the parts and pieces, and I couldn't figure out atoms and neutrons and what all came together. But you know, for somebody that can do the chemical engineering part, not too bad. You know, not only that, Joseph speaks 3 different languages. I have a hard enough time to speak 4. Okay, they only give me, okay, so I got Italian, Portuguese, Spanish, See. Roger that. So I get 4 languages. Okay, I gave English as a kind of a given, but you're right. There's 4 languages, and I got a hard enough time with just 1. You know, I lived in 3 or 4 different countries. One would assume I could have picked that up. I couldn't get past bonjour, you know, comment ça va, and a few other things from Swedish, and no way. But to have 4 and all of them self-taught, amazing. Okay, so you know this is just an example of what an individual can do when they set their mind to it, and he seems to be absolutely driven. He was showing me a book just before we came in here, and as I started to go back looking at that book, I said, you know, that it brings back some serious memories. You take a look at what Joseph has done in his past in terms of being a test officer for a lot of equipment that we use today. And if you think about, you know, and I go back to think when I was a young lieutenant in 1982, you know, I was looking at some of Joseph's pictures of an M60 tank, M2 Bradley fighting vehicle, and an M1 tank, and I'm thinking to myself, and the M17 protective mask, and thinking, all that stuff was stuff I used as a lieutenant. But what I never realized was there was somebody back behind all of that development who took the time to do the testing on it, to make sure it worked, to look at it in a chemical biological environment, to make sure that it could sustain operations and survivability. That was just, I didn't even think about it. I'm sure many of my peers didn't think about it. We just were handed the equipment, we knew it would work, we had confidence it worked, but it worked because people like Joseph were back there making sure that we had the capabilities to be able to do our warfighting mission if and when that was required. And, if you can, and many of you are old enough to remember the Cold War, you know, the threats of Germany, living in Germany and living on the frontiers of freedom. If you were in Korea, the same thing. So Joseph did all that. So you know, it's really an amazing thing. I look at, you know, one of the things that caught me was the Senator. You know, when I went through, I looked at that, you know, all the testing you did on the Senator. The Senator was an interesting piece of equipment. For an infantry guy, it meant I got a hot shower when I was out in the field. Okay? I mean, it was great to have to spray off equipment, but it really, you know, it really meant that we could put up a tent and we could, after being out in the field for 2 or 3 weeks and you hadn't had a shower except maybe what you were living out of your helmet, and this was pre-Kevlar days, so you know you could actually use your helmet to eat and clean and do all that kind of stuff. You know, when the Senator showed up, it was like, hey, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Hook it up, it's hot water, we'll take a quick shower. And you know, and I was a company's NBC officer, which meant, well, I should be saying, hey boss, what we really need to do is make sure we can practice cleaning the equipment and stuff. But you know, when you're looking at 150 raging people that haven't had a shower for 2 or 3 weeks, that shower really looked pretty good with the Senator. So Joseph, thanks for making sure that thing really worked. You know, the other thing about Joseph is, I understand, we're gonna, you know, I asked around a couple folks about, you know, what is it that really gets you about Joseph? And they said, well, we kind of think he's the Rocky of Usenka. said, what do you mean? He goes, well, you know, he's in such great shape, you know. You know, when we think about it, you know, soldiers are supposed to be in good shape, but, you know, sometimes civilians kind of take it for granted that, well, we don't have to do that PT anymore, we don't have to go. But you look at Joseph, and he's actually, you know, an incredible physical fitness fanatic. You know, I won't say fanatic, but I mean, you're an incredible individual. He plays soccer with kids half his age. Okay, who's going to do that? I mean, you know, I mean, but you do that. You work out. I understand you're an amateur video manager. You know, word is that you, director,
Video creator.
video creator. You know, I mean, he's created how to take a PT test. Now, I'm not going to ask him to get up here and do sit-ups and push-ups so that we all know how to do them correctly. But he's got a video out there about how to do the PT test. You don't do that unless you really know what you're doing and you have confidence in your abilities. And you know, he stands up before us, and he will here. But he's in great physical shape. And you know, he talks about going to the gym, likes to work out. We were debating whether golf was a true sport or whether you really go out and have to do something like soccer, you know, because that's where you sweat. And, you know, and when I reminded him that, you know, you can walk the course. Jason and I were kind of, you know, teaming up here a little bit, trying to say, well, you know, if you walk the course, you get a little sweaty. It's about a 5-mile walk, you know, as opposed to, you know, seeing the guys run around in the carts all the time. But you know, but Joseph's like, hey, I play soccer, I sweat, you know. I'm like, you know, that's okay. So soccer, golf. Sport, non-sport, I don't know. It just we'll leave that for folks to figure out. Okay, so this brings us to a point where, you know, saying farewell and goodbye to an integral part of our organization is always hard. And when you do that, you lose a piece of the organization. Joseph will take away from here, you know, hopefully some very fond memories, but at the same time, so we'll retain, you know, the contributions that he's had. And we'll thank him for that. We're going to reward him for that. There's going to be a series of you know, certificates and some things that, you know, you can put in your wall if you want. But we do want to thank you. We both in peacetime and war. As a government civilian, you've served our Army and our nation in both the peacetime and the wartime. And we thank you for that. And we can't ever, you know, forget that, you know, not only are there soldiers out on the front lines, but behind them there are civilians who are doing all that they can do to make sure that the equipment that we get is able to perform and is survivable in any kind of environment. So Joseph, thank you for all you've done. Thank you for everything that you and your family have supported you through, and you've helped our nation and our Army. And I just I wish you all the best. Joseph's got a honey-do list about this long. You know, it's gonna take some time to work through that. Been there, done that. I still think I've got mine sitting on the table somewhere. You know, I work at it periodically, but you know, eventually, you know, you'll get through all of it. But it's really about what you want to do now in your second life as a, you know, as what helps you with the family. Because Joseph said he's going to take his family and make decisions about where they go as a family. I think that's pretty good. I mean, that's pretty awesome. I mean, some of us have been, those decisions have been made for us when we were in uniform. You go here, you go there, but now as a civilian, you have a little bit more control over your environment and the direction of your life, the quality of your life with your family. So it's all it all will come together for you. So to the Nellis family, thank you for your service to the nation. To Joseph, thank you for all you've done for our nation. We're going to give you a couple of small tokens of our appreciation and wish you all the best as you go off into another part of your life.
Thank you.
Okay? Tom?
Ladies and gentlemen, Colonel Ariel Quadrado, Second Deputy Director.
Once again, I thank you everyone for coming here. Our director, Mr. Flitzman, did a magnificent job highlighting issues of your careers, especially the good ones, and the things that we should remember. Because there's always things that he didn't want to talk about, but I will talk about that.
Just remember, I was a good guy.
So given that introduction, before we actually present you with some of the awards and the certificate and everything that we're going to do officially just in a few minutes, I want to remind you that, you know, we all remember Joseph for many different things, and the only thing that struck me, at least in a good way, I would say that, is that he and I have this conversation consistently. Usually at noontime, we have a good conversation, and most of the time was in Spanish. And we practice in Spanish to make sure that we stay in shape, but we also talk about different things, including work, and including scientific things, a lot of things from the past. You will say that sometimes when you go back and he's telling stories, it was just stories, but these stories have meaning, and the meaning was not only about what it was done in those days of testing in Dogwell, which that was the customer of Dogwell Proving Grounds in the 1990s, bringing equipment and doing testing there. I froze a lot of parts of my body there at night, and I sweat a lot always, when I was in summer. So that was a harsh environment. One thing I can tell you is that, just like Mr. Christian illustrated, it was important to know that someone like you that have a lot of attention to detail and a very decisive way of pursuing things when you get assigned those projects and you saw that your mission, that you were ensuring that those things were working not only right, but everything that was done about it, it was done right. And we appreciate that. And I got that from all the things that you told me in the last couple of years that I've been here, had the privilege to work with you. That was something that was very important. I also saw the other parts, like the project that you and Colonel Marquardt started, which was about the protection factors. That was a long time ago, and that was a lot of work. And then Colonel Baloy, when he came on board, he continued that work with you, because still, even when it was a lot of these things done, it needs to get in actual books to be able to be part of the regulations or part of the process that we follow, to at least have a requirement to test for those protection factors that we need to know for our equipment in a radiation environment. That was a lot of work consistently, and you have not only all the paperwork done, but all the research that needs to be done with that. And many, many times those things were challenged, and you every time have everything that we needed to go back and put our heads together, the three of us, the three colonels in succession with Colonel Marquardt, Colonel Baloy, and myself in between, and then after also helping out as a deputy director. We were able to go back and do this project in a long-term basis, which is otherwise, if you had not been there, the continuity to look over those issues. The three of us, we have not had the basis to be able to do that. That's some of the little things that sometimes we don't forget, we either don't recognize properly. It's being recognized, but I know that in fact it might go away in our minds, and yet that's an important contribution that sometimes is unseen, and that we appreciate that you are here to do that and many others. So without any further delay, I would like to then move on to the official part of the ceremony. So
Mr. Nellis, please come forward and join Colonel Quadrado. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the presentation of the Commander's Award for Civilian Service. Attention to orders. For exemplary service and outstanding contributions as a chemical engineer in the Capabilities Division, United States Army Nuclear and Combating Weapons of Mass Destruction Agency, Office of the Deputy Chief of Staff, G357, Headquarters, Department of the Army. Mr. Nellis made numerous enduring contributions to the Army's mission as the agency's primary expert on all matters related to chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear materials survivability. His service is characterized by his technical expertise, collegial demeanor, and focused dedication to duty, reflecting distinct credit upon himself, this agency, and the United States Army. Signed, General Huggins.
Joseph, I'll send you with. So you can honestly and very proudly send it into your house somewhere, and please don't make it laugh. It need to be seen. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Can we take this one? Okay, so there's a long tradition here of what we call blood wings. So I'm sure it's the same here.
I can take it.
There you go. Hold on this one. Make sure we get it right. Is by any chance we have any blood coming? Just so it's here, we will take care of that. So you know someone like
We have a doctor.
Yeah, we got a doctor.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. The Deputy Director will now present Mr. Nellis a letter from Lieutenant General Huggins. The letter reads, Dear Mr. Nellis, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you for your loyalty, dedication, and hard work while you served in the Army G3. Your contributions to USENCA did not go unnoticed by me or the soldiers in the field. Your professionalism, sense of duty, and perseverance were the hallmarks of your tour in G3. On behalf of the entire G3 team, I want to extend my appreciation for your efforts as a team player and a true professional. Signed, Lieutenant General James L. Huggins, Jr.
this is the letter, so I can do that one. Okay. Pleasure.
Next will be the G357 certificate. Now Mr. Nels received his certificate of retirement and certificate of appreciation.
This one we will hold on back. Just kidding. Is there, you sure that's you?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. Congratulations. And I will say that right now, big applause for all these things that you have received and what you
Colonel Blaine, can you please come forward?
Well, as Division Chief for the Capabilities Division in which Joseph served, I get this really dragged through the dirt. Now, as you all know, Joseph, and as was said by Mr. Clipstein and Joseph, that he is a amateur video creator, and I've seen many of them. He's got a workout video. He's got a video of him skiing where he loses his leg in a snowbank, and then of course the one he actually cashed in on was it Volkswagen?
It's a Volkswagen Germany commercial.
Yeah, Germany commercial where he actually received money for singing "I Did It My Way," which Frank Sinatra, and I hear is going to be on Super Bowl. However, because of his prowess in being a video creator, we got him a So that's the gag, yeah. Yes. And I'm on that one.
Whoever helped make this, I thank you a lot.
I guess I don't feel comfortable giving the coin because this is the director's coin, but you get a director's coin, which is should always be on you. Otherwise, you'd be buying beer if you see someone on the street.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. And then lastly, kind of together, the traditional Usanka plaque, and also something that we wanted you to have, which to me personally, this means so much, and that everybody contributed to it. And this is what I usually hang up in my office, is the units, feelings for you. And also with the Undersecretary of the Army when he visited, and which also another Spanish. Now, lastly, they talked to him. He's from Chile, right?
He went to Chile.
Yeah. So these are for you. I told Joseph yesterday to bring a grocery sack. He said I have a squad with me that can help carry this. Let me help you with it. I'll put those over here for now. So watch the Super Bowl this weekend. The one thing I will always remember about Joseph, the book that he has, I too was amazed at the level of detail that goes into our combat our material developments of stuff that I also use and my soldiers use. Additionally, you can't talk to Joseph without discussion turning to his family. I know how extremely proud you are of your family. You guys need to know that he talks about you all the time here at work, and how proud he is of what you do. So I envy you in the amount of time you put in with your family. So, as your division chief, Joseph, we're going to miss you, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much, sir.
I know that this is your floor, so before you do that, I make sure we do this correctly.
Mr. Nels, take
I don't even have words to express my gratitude. Thanks for those who prepared this. And Mr. Clipstein, Colonel Quadrado, Colonel Polite, thank you very much for being here and doing this nice retirement ceremony for me. In my life, I have 3 tenets that I've always held true. My family, that's you. As you pointed out, my faith in God and my job. And I've always had everything else have been secondary. Those 3 have been the main ones. And I was fortunate to have a wonderful lady I was in graduate school. She was in second year college, we met. And being a daughter of a Navy officer, I had to convince her father that I was the right guy for her. So it wasn't hard, but now we're best of friends. My in-laws got along great. But anyhow, my wife and I had the good fortune of having a son and a daughter that have been the joy of our family. They only brought happiness in our lives. The Lord gave us healthy children, and I'm so grateful to have them living with us. And I don't have words to express right now, but they're number one. The second tenet in my life is faith in God. We've been able to raise our kids, teaching them honesty, hard work, and respect for others, particularly elder people, respect for people that work for you. And they've done a good job so far in their career-wise. My wife and I always taught them to we always try to teach them to reach for the stars, keep your feet on the ground. And after they made their choices, career-wise, in school, and everything they had to do so far, my wife and I just simply guided them, pointing out the right from wrong. And I think the proof is in the pudding, like they say. Now, going to the third tenet, which is my job, my work. I've prepared here a few notes. And I've been collecting some thoughts and things I could say about my job, and I think I have a good list here.
Call Plaque.
So, but now I have to go into my plan B because the three of you already covered most of it. So I'm going to cut off 99% of what I have to say. And please, Colonel Quadrado, hold my speech here. If I have if I have a senior moment here,
We do.
Cue cards, right?
yes, hold there because I may need it. Because if I have a senior moment, I may need to go back there.
Let me hold it here.
Anyway, about my job, if you have never asked anyone, what is a guy like this, Joe Nellis, born in Brazil, son of Italians, what is he doing in the Army? How did he end up here and now staying 29 years in the Army as a civilian soldier? I have to go back and tell you that the very first time I was exposed to the English language is when I was 8 years old. And I grew up speaking Italian at home, Portuguese in school. So when I heard that language on the screen, and by the way, it was Ronald Reagan from a cowboy movie. And I heard them speaking that different language. And as I went to other matinee movies, I fell in love with the sound of it, with the way they spoke, and I became so interested. So I set up my mind to say, I'm going to learn that language, the English language. And so one of the things I remember Ronald Reagan saying is, well, round them up, drive them out. I knew what he was saying because there were subtitles. And I became an avid movie goer because of Hollywood style of movies, but there was no way to learn more than books I acquired. In high school, I took a class, but there was no way to speak. So when I finished high school, I asked my parents, I'd like to go study English. England or United States, but I prefer United. Would you help me? My dad was supportive, and he gave me some advice, some counseling. But he helped me. So in the meantime, while I was saving money for the trip, so I applied for one of the school or college to come and learn English for 1 year. And luckily, I was awarded an academic scholarship for coming to learn English for 1 year. However, when I arrived in this country and I got to know it better, I got to know the history within that 1 year and study a lot of English.